Hey everyone, today we're going to break down the physics of light, reflection, and refraction. Now, I know this topic can feel a little complicated, but stick with me. By the end of this, you'll see it's all about a few simple visual rules that explain everything from how a magnifying glass works to how a telescope sees the stars. Let's jump right in. So let's start with a pretty wild question. It might sound like something from a survival show, but it's the perfect way to see the incredible power that's hiding in a simple, curved mirror. I mean, really think about it. Can a mirror with no flame, no fuel, no nothing actually set something on fire? It seems like it shouldn't be possible, right? Well, the answer is a definite yes. A curved mirror, when you aim it at the sun, acts like a giant satellite dish for light. It collects all those parallel sun rays and focuses them all down to one tiny, intensely bright spot. All that light energy becomes heat, and bam, you've got enough heat to set a piece of paper on fire. And that fire starting point, that special spot where all the light rays meet, that has a name. It's called the principal focus, or, just the focus for short. Understanding this one point is the absolute key to unlocking how all of these mirrors work. Okay, so now that we've seen what a focused mirror can do, let's get properly introduced to the two main types of spherical mirrors that we're going to be working with. On your left, you've got the concave mirror. The easy way to remember this one is that it curves inward, like a cave. And on the right, we have the convex mirror, which does the opposite. It bulges out toward you. Their shapes might look similar, but what they do to light is completely different. And that difference in shape leads to a huge difference in what they do. Concave mirrors are converging mirrors. They bring light rays together, they collect them at that focus point, just like in our fire example. Convex mirrors, they're diverging. They do the exact opposite. They take those same light rays and spread them all out. Now, to really predict how light is going to bounce off these things, we need to know the basic anatomy of the mirror. There are just three key landmarks. The pole, or P, is just the very center of the mirror's surface. The focus, F, is that special point we've already talked about. And the center of curvature, C, is the center of the big sphere the mirror was sliced from. Think of these 3 points as our roadmap for tracing light. So, how can we figure out exactly what an image in a mirror is going to look like? Is it bigger, smaller, upside down? Well, it's not guesswork. It turns out there are 3 simple, unbreakable rules that light always follows. And here they are. This is your entire toolkit. Rule number 1, any ray of light that comes in straight and parallel to the main axis will bounce off the mirror and go right through the focus. Rule number 2 is just the reverse. If a ray passes through the focus first, it'll bounce off the mirror and go out perfectly parallel. And the third one, maybe the easiest, is that any ray that passes through the center of curvature, C, just hits the mirror and reflects straight back along the same path it came from. That's it. Master these 3, and you can draw any reflection. Okay, theory is one thing, but let's actually put this into practice. We're going to build a ray diagram together, step by step, and you'll see just how straightforward it is to find exactly where that image is going to show up. First, we got to set up our drawing. Draw a nice straight line. That's our principal axis. Make a mark for the pole, P, which is where the mirror is. Now, here's a little pro tip for when you're doing this on paper. Use a ruler. Mark the focus, F, exactly 2 centimeters away from P. Then, mark the center of curvature, C, another 2 centimeters away from F. And I'm serious about this, just keeping that spacing consistent. 2 centimeters makes a world of difference. It ensures that when you draw your rays, everything lines up perfectly, and your final image is in the right spot. All right, our mirror is all set up. Now we need an object to look at. We'll just represent it with a simple little arrow. We'll call it AB, standing on the axis. Our mission is to find out where its reflection is going to appear. Time to use those rules. We'll start at the very top of our object, point A. Let's draw our first ray coming out from it, perfectly parallel to the axis. And what does Rule 1 tell us? It tells us that this ray is going to hit the mirror and reflect right through the focus, F. Easy enough? Okay, 1 ray down. Now to find where the image is, we need at least 2 reflected rays to cross each other. So let's use another rule. How about Rule 3? We draw a second ray from that same point A, but this time we draw it so it passes through the center of curvature, C. The rule says this ray hits the mirror and just bounces right back on itself. And would you look at that? The 2 reflected rays cross each other at one specific point. That intersection? That is exactly where the top of our image is going to be. So we draw an arrow from that point down to the axis, and there you have it, our final image. And notice, in this case, it's smaller and it's upside down. So you can now draw where an image will be, which is awesome. But what about when you have to solve problems using formulas? Well, for that, we need to learn the secret language of mirror math. It's called the sign convention. Don't worry, this isn't nearly as complicated as it sounds. Think of it like a simple code on a map. It's just a set of rules that tells us whether to call a distance positive or negative, depending on where it is. It's how the math knows if something is in front of the mirror, behind it, right side up, or upside down.
The logic is actually super simple. You just pretend the pole of the mirror is the origin, the 0 point on a graph. From there, any distance measured to the left is negative. Any distance to the right is positive. And for height, anything above the axis is positive, and anything below is negative. That's the entire system.
So here are the key things you really need to remember. For a concave mirror, the focus is in front of it. That's the negative zone, so its focal length is always negative. For a convex mirror, its focus is behind it, in the positive zone, so its focal length is always positive. Getting that one detail right is the key to making sure all your calculations come out correctly. And just like that, we've gone from a simple question about starting a fire all the way to having the complete toolkit for mirrors. You know the different types, you know the unbreakable rules of light, you can draw a perfect ray diagram from scratch, and now you can even crack the code for the math. You're all set. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. These few simple rules don't just exist to solve problems in a textbook. They are the fundamental principles that govern how a telescope sees a galaxy billions of light years away, how a microscope reveals a world we can't see, and even how your own eyes are forming an image of this screen right now. How amazing is it that these few rules build our entire visual reality?